All
Let's see
right.
if we can sync
Let's
this
see.
thing.
Yeah.
There we
No,
go.
we already missed it. All right, Mark, are we up?
Takes a minute.
Takes a minute.
There we go.
All right.
You're up.
We're going to turn it. Excuse my being close to the camera. All right, so technical difficulties, but we're going to do this again.
That's right.
All right.
We were right on time,
We were right on.
but we didn't press the go live button properly.
Yeah.
So,
John's fault, not mine.
clearly your fault.
Okay. All right, so here we go. All right, so this is the first episode of the new year. I think last time you said that. You want me to say it again?
First episode of 2017. I'm John Wald, Primary Residential Mortgage.
And I'm Quincy from Covington Company.
So, we're going to talk about, kind of just a few topics. You want to go over the topics we'll talk about?
So yeah, we're going to talk about time in the market. And what that basically means is, obviously it's winter, it's January. So we are going to talk about, as a buyer or a seller, how to best get into the market, deal with the winter, deal with the inventory. As a buyer, deal with the inventory shortage. As a seller, how to take advantage of that. And we're just going to go through it from both aspects.
Perfect.
All right, cool. So let's start off with interest rates. Obviously, that's always a question. So where are we?
And I know we ended last year talking about kind of how, the end of the year interest rates spiked up a little bit. Interest rates are still, higher than they were 3 months ago. The interest rate, luckily, over the past, I would say about week or so, it's dropped maybe an eighth in interest rate. But you're still talking, it's not 3.75 like it was 3 months ago.
Right.
You're talking something in the mid fours, mid to low fours. But again, interest rate is very important. But what's more important is your payment. You can't go to the store and buy a loaf of bread on an interest rate.
Right.
You got to go at it at what's going to be your comfortable level of payment.
Yeah, you got to live in the payment.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
you live in the payment, not.
And it's one thing too. It's like you can't make yourself crazy over interest rate, as we've talked about many times. You're happy with the payment, move on, do the home inspection, do the appraisal, do the title work. There's a lot more things going into a purchase than just the interest rate.
Definitely.
So
Cool.
let's talk about is the winter a good time to buy a property as a buyer?
I think it is. I think it is. So obviously there's pros and cons to each season of buying a house, but in the winter, I know the one thing that buyers are discouraged of is the lack of inventory. So that's that. Now, what that means is when somebody does list their house in the winter, that's a serious seller. That's somebody who needs to sell their house, wants to sell their house. As a buyer, most of the time when you see that new listing come up, I'm not saying you're going to get like a deal or you're going to steal the house, but I am saying that negotiation is going to go pretty well because that person really wants to sell their house. They're a serious seller as opposed to, a holdover from 2016 last year. They have a ton of days on the market. That's probably not a serious seller. You want to try to avoid those houses at this point.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do think it's a good time.
Yeah.
So, dealing with the low inventory, what that also means, the good advantage for the buyer is there's less competition too. Obviously March, April, May come. There's a reason. There's a ton of reasons, especially depending on the price of the house.
Yeah.
You
And
have
location.
location always, but you have a huge influx of buyers, which then means like competition, competing offers. Seller. It turns more to like that typical seller's market.
Yep.
But so I mean, the winter is a great time. You gotta A, do a little bit more homework, okay? And we'll talk about that in a second. And B, you have to just watch the inventory more. Like, don't get discouraged because there's low inventory. Keep your eye on it. When something pops up you want, you need to go after that. But we're kind of discussing this a little bit. So another good thing in the winter is use the time to do your homework. If you're not ready to buy a house until the spring, there's nothing wrong with starting now. If you're pre-qualified, you're ready to go, you know your numbers, you're good. Start your homework. Start researching neighborhoods. No decent agent is going to blow you off because you want to start 6 months ahead of time. It's a great time to start. If you're not actually ready to buy, but you're prepared to, it's a good time to start that research. Now.
Absolutely, it's a good time to prepare, and that way when you do find something, you can jump on it pretty quickly.
Yeah, get pre-qualified now. Go out, view a home here, view a home there. See what the neighborhood's like.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is what you were just touching on. Is it a good time to buy?
Right.
It's yes, because a lot of times if it's a new listing, the seller's a lot more motivated. You find in the spring sometimes people just throw their house up, hoping they could get
They're
the
tested.
money.
Yeah, they're tested. I mean, here's what it comes down to too. Like if the time for you to buy is now, then it's a good time to buy. Whenever you're ready, it's a good time to buy. Don't worry so much about like grass is greener syndrome. If now's the time for you, get out there and look.
Yep, absolutely. So, the flip side of that is now a good time to sell your property.
Absolutely.
and list it.
I think it's just the reverse of that. Okay,
Mhm.
so especially if you're in a really sought after neighborhood,
Yeah.
there's low inventory. So if you're a seller, your house pops up on the market, people are going to flock to it because there are always
Yeah.
buyers. There's always buyers out there.
Mhm.
So if you're the only listing in a neighborhood where things don't come up very often because the sought after neighborhood, or when they do come up, they're just gone right away.
Yeah.
And your house goes up January, February, people are going to flock to it. I mean, that's just how it works. There are a couple pitfalls to listing your house in the winter that you need to avoid. One thing is it is so important to price your house correctly in the winter. The last thing you want is to overprice it. Then it stays on the market, and all of a sudden you started in January, February. It's now April, May. You're still in the market. You have the influx of spring listings, and everything's fresh and new in the spring. And you have this listing with a bunch of days on the market from the winter. Like you're just gonna get lost in the shuffle.
And I think that's an important thing because we do this every single day,
Right.
so we understand the terms. Days on the market. When you look at a listing on Maris, you're going to see a button on there or a section on there that
Right.
says days. How many days has the property been listed and actively listed? And you, as a buyer's agent, when you see it on there for a lot more days,
Sure.
what's the
You
first
salivate.
thing?
Yeah. I mean, so the psychological effect is, oh, this house has been on the market for 100 some odd days. I can get a lower price.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if now you just drop the price and it's accurate. Buyers think a lot of days on the market. I'm going to get a lower
Yeah,
price.
they
for
think the
house.
seller's desperate.
That's exactly what it
Yeah.
comes out to be.
Yeah.
Whether you are or not, it's
Yeah.
it's already taken its toll. And the important thing with days on the market is everybody sees that, not just real estate agents. So buyers on Zillow will see that.
Yeah.
Buyers on any internet site, it is a almost public record if you
Yeah.
kind of want to think about it that way. But the one good thing too is with selling your house in the winter. Again, with a low inventory, like we just discussed, the buyers. I mean, that's the main thing. The buyers will gravitate towards that listing.
If it's a very good listing.
If it's a good listing, it's
Yep.
priced accordingly.
Yep.
To what your local market is. You shouldn't have problems selling your house in winter. There's
Yep.
no reason not to sell your house. And
Absolutely.
again, just like with a buyer, if now's the time you need to sell your house, sell your house.
Anytime's
There's no
a good
reason
time.
not to.
Yeah. And in the buyer's perspective too, I mean, we talked about this earlier too, is, when it comes to a mortgage, most people don't realize your mortgage payment is actually, delayed basically a
Right.
month. So you settle in January, you don't have a payment in February, first payment's in March.
Exactly.
So, those that are getting out of a lease or getting out of rent or, may have to sell another house,
Right.
you're not doubling up on a payment, which gives a little bit of a peace of mind for
Right.
the buyer's perspective.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's another tip for listing your house in the
Yeah,
winter?
I mean, so I would say, we talked about this, I think, a little last time. So
Yeah.
one thing is everybody shops online. Photos are the most important thing besides price,
Absolutely.
I think, on selling your house. So there's a little bit of snow on the ground,
Yeah.
so get at least the outdoor photos done on your house. Get them shot when there's no snow on the ground.
Yeah.
You don't want to, even if you're still on the market for a month or two, you don't want to have the photos of your house with snow on the outside come spring. That's also a
So
signal to buyers.
when's, so say you want to list your house in March, February, March.
Yeah.
When's a good time for you to contact the real estate agent? Because you're not going to take the photo outside right now.
I would say, honestly, I would say a couple months ahead of time, contact the agent, start getting things squared away. I mean, there's a lot that goes into listing a house successfully. Especially depending on what your need is. I have a client, we're about to list a house, that client is moving, they're relocating to the other side of the country. There's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just, little intricacies, things that need to be done. So starting a couple months ahead of time is a fantastic idea.
And especially, I mean, obviously, don't take the picture yourself. I mean, you certainly can
Never
if
take
you're a
the picture
photographer,
yourself.
but you would want to hire a real
Yeah.
estate agent that would be able to go out there and
I'm not taking the photos myself. You're going to hire me.
Exactly.
I'm going to hire
hire a
photographer.
professional
Yeah.
photographer.
Yeah.
So and make sure that it's it's appealing to the eyes on the internet.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
And if for some reason, if you're on the market now, like say you took photos today and there's snow, spend the money. Have your real estate agent spend the money. Get those photos retaken. I've definitely. I've done that with listings that maybe have, gone stale a little bit, reshot them, and, most recently, I know, I even did this one of my houses I sold. Like, we sat on the market, it came off, we made some updates, I reshot it, 4 days it was gone.
Wow.
So, it does, the photos make a huge
I mean,
difference.
the pictures do sell.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
pictures really do sell. So.
Cool. So, I think that's it for the topic, yes?
Did you,
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about a few updates that we
I
were
do, yeah.
chatting about?
So for 2017, we are going to do a couple things, or at least a couple things in a more organized fashion. So Make sure you're liking. We have a page now just for the podcast. We'll put that out. So make sure you're liking either that page, my real estate page, or John's page, and sign up to get notifications for going live so you never miss one of these episodes. And then the next day, we will always load the audio version of this. So subscribe to the podcast. Again, we'll put the link out. And if you can't catch the live show, you always have the podcast to listen to.
Yeah.
So, all right.
And if you got any questions, all our information's always there. We'd love to, talk specifics. And thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely. Thanks.